Thank you, members of the press. It's such a great privilege to have Mr. Liam Neeson, a close friend of the festival, Gaston Pavlovich. I think this speaks loudly of the purpose of this festival, not just becoming a film event, but also an industry gathering. We feel so privileged because Gaston, who's a Mexican producer, is a very active new actor in the North American scene, and he chose to reveal all details about Mr. Liam Neeson's new film here at Los Cabos Film Festival as a launching platform for this project. So first and foremost, we have a special surprise for you, but I prefer that Mr. Gaston gives you the details about it.
Thank you, Lord. So, thank you very much for the introduction and for inviting us to the festival. It's my first time here, and I am extremely happy, satisfied that something like this is going on in my country, and really looking forward to the next editions. We had invited our director, Martin Scorsese, to come, of course. He is in late stages of the editing process of our project Silence, and as many of you know, he is sort of an obsessed kind of director, and he's really going into the details and everything, so he could not make it. But he was very nice enough to send us a video message regarding the festival and this press conference. So if you don't mind, it just takes 30 seconds. We'll show you what his message is.
Hello, I wish I was there in person to salute Gaston Pavlovich and his company, Fabrica de Cine, and thank them for coming aboard to fully finance and produce this project that's been extremely close to my heart for so many years, the adaptation of Shashiko Endo's book, Silence. Thanks to Gaston and his team and my producer, Emma Koskov, we were finally able to bring this to the screen. I think that Gaston, when I first met him and discussed this project, really had an understanding, maybe understood what I was trying to do with the film and my commitment to it. And so, up to this point, it has been a wonderful experience, and I just want to let you know from the bottom of my heart how much I thank you, Gaston.
Wow. Having Mr. Martin Scorsese, such a legendary director, collaborating with a Mexican producer, I think it's just a privilege, and it speaks loudly of what's happening in our country in terms of how our producers are getting involved with independent cinema in the States. So I would like to begin with asking Mr. Liam, why did you get involved with this project? I think it's a passion project from many sides. If you could tell us what attracted you from the project.
Well, who's going to turn down a job for Martin Scorsese? And if you need a mentor in your film, who do you go to? So, those two alone was... no, I knew it was a very, very special project for Martin. It was... he's, as you know, a very, very special director. And for actors, from an acting point of view, he's exceptional. His level of concentration and focus and what he prepares for the actor before you come on set is just wonderful. He supplies 200%. All he wants from you is 100%. Being raised an Irish Catholic myself, the subject of faith and Catholicism struck very, very close to home. And it's, you know, the question, I guess, in the film is there a God? And I think we're all in some way or other asking ourselves that all the time. What is the purpose of being on life, being in this life? What is faith? Why have faith? Why do we wake up in the morning and get up out of bed? It's as basic as that, and I think the film asks all these questions and dramatizes them in a very exceptional way. Well, that was good. Did you get all that?
The movie industry, independent movie industry in the States is changing lately, and new players, I mean, it's interesting that Mexican players are taking part of it now, not just directors, as we know, Academy Award-winning directors, but also producers. Tell us a little bit about your experience working with Fábrica de Cine. We know that there might be some more projects possibly in the future.
Hopefully, my new best friend here, Gaston. It's funny, when we were in Taipei, and I had gone through, I think it was a 6.1 earthquake, which was probably the most terrifying moment of my life, just before we started shooting. When we started shooting, I had met Gaston, and Gaston said, when you have a free couple of hours, maybe we'll do lunch. And my immediate reaction when a producer asks me that is, oh God. Seriously, I'm just not comfortable with that side of the business. But Gaston and I met, we had lunch, and the 1 hour lunch turned into like 4 hours. I think I met a kindred spirit, someone who loves passionately cinema, and especially Mexican cinema, and the potential for cinema in this country. And this festival, he talked about this festival. A happy birthday, by the way, 4 years of age, right? It's fantastic. So I'm looking forward personally to working with Gaston again in the future, and indeed we are talking about a couple of projects. And, I just wanted to say one thing about festivals, film festivals. They're very, very important. Why? Because they do put a focus on cinema, and that kind of domino effects down to people buying tickets to see films. And I'm a huge supporter of that. Films all over the world. And this is wonderful. Look at this surroundings.
Yeah, right.
It's fantastic. So I'll personally tell all my colleagues, acting colleagues, to, if they ever get an invite, to come here.
That's fantastic. What do you like most about Cabos so far?
You know something, I was here before, my wife and I came here. In fact, it was our last holiday. It was about 8 years ago. We stayed over there. Yeah. And it's very, very beautiful. Everyone was so gracious and welcoming, and typical of the Mexican people.
Yeah, right. We take this opportunity to thank our friend from Ventanas, a fantastic hotel.
Gaston, tell us from your side, you're becoming a huge player in the US scene. You have so many projects, and this one in particular I know is very special for you. Tell us a little bit more about working with Liam Neeson and of course with Mr. Scorsese.
I just want to make sure that you all got the part where he said he will work with me again. That I'm a good guy. You need to repeat. Thank you, Liam. Of course, as always, you're utmost generous in everything. And from the moment we sat down, I was really looking forward when I started producing Silence. One of the highlights that I was looking forward to was meeting Liam. I've always loved everything he has done throughout his professional career, and I was looking forward to asking him why he accepted to do such a challenging project as a child, such as Silence. Of course, he responded the Marty Scorsese factor. But when we had the one-on-one conversation, I asked him again, and he said, you know, this is a movie that my grandchildren will be talking about, and this is a movie that will make history. And he told me, you know, I wouldn't miss that for the world. I think we're doing something extremely special in Silence. I was completely at all at his comments and his commitment to Silence. As a producer, it was fantastic because I might get in trouble for saying that, but he sacrificed much in order to be in Silence. And he did everything possible to make sure that this film was made. And his commitment was absolute. So watching Marty Scorsese and Liam Neeson work together, it's just pure genius. And I think Liam said it best, and we all consider Scorsese as a genius. But a genius is pretty much somebody who prepares, and somebody who works 200% and expects at least 100%. So I knew of the preparation that was going, the process that Martin Scorsese was going in the preparation stage with Liam and the actors. And it was just fascinating to see how he prepares, how he studies, how he focuses. So once everybody is on set, things will run pretty smoothly, even considering the hardships that this movie went through. It was just a lot of complications, of course, natural and non-natural. We filmed throughout the whole island of Taiwan, on the sea, on the mountains, in rough weather, at every kind of hour possible. And it was just absolute, fantastic, marvelous satisfaction seeing the genius of Scorsese in how he worked every angle, every spot, every moment. And of course, the way Liam Neeson stepped onto the stage, knowing exactly what he had to portray and what he had to do. So professionally, it was to me the highlight of my professional career, of course, to see that. And then you add the fact that we were able to sit down, was what I thought was going to be a 15-minute tea break. Turned out to several hours talking about life and what makes this so passionate to us, and me trying to convince him that we should work together again. And knowing the genius of Liam and Marty now turning into the respect, more respect of the human facet of both of these men.
Speaking about the amazing performance that I'm sure you did in Silence, you have such a long and amazing career, Liam. And now you are, in this movie particularly, you were working with two young actors that are actually very vibrant and active in the scene. How was your experience with Andrew Garfield and Adam Driver in this set?
Well, I didn't work with Adam. When I arrived, I guess it was about halfway through the shoot. Adam had already finished his stuff, so all my stuff mainly was with Andrew and Mr. Ogado, this extraordinary Japanese actor. Extraordinary. Andrew is I'm always amazed at these young actors that seem to come out of the woodwork nowadays. Their commitment and their intensity and their concentration is quite phenomenal. And Andrew he's a British-American actor. He's young. He looks 16. He's not 16. I know he's not, but he's just that rare thing. I've seen him on stage, and he's quite extraordinary in the theatre. And on film, he's just he takes cinema acting to another level, and I really mean that. And it was just an honour to work with him, and we had very, very complicated spiritual scenes together. And he's giving a remarkable performance. That's all I can say. Very remarkable.
Definitely, I guess the film industry is changing, the market is changing, and someone like Martin Scorsese, who used to work for the studio system many years, now is transitioning into a more independent type of making films. That guy is just, it's just an amazing career, right? Like, he's gonna keep on doing the films he wants. But what can you comment to us, Liam, about this transition in the US industry? Now more independent projects are being made, and a new breed of producers are financing them in a different way, right? The studio system is kind of collapsing in a way.
I think with the advent of computerization and the web and this other language of communication that I don't understand. I'm a dinosaur when it comes to it. I can punch out an email and that's about it. But it does seem to be moving me in a period of transition. I remember 18 years ago I was on the Phantom Menace, which was the first episode 1 of Star Wars. And I was amazed at seeing cameras with huge wires coming out of them, leading into these big computers with these little nerds typing away. There's like 5 or 6 of them. And there's me acting to a tennis ball. and green screen and blue screens, and really not knowing what was happening. And now that's in the space of 18 years, of course, that is all changed. The cameras no longer have wires coming out. The cameras are like that size. It's a little bit frightening for someone my age. But the love of cinema and the love of making movies, especially from the independent quarter, and I see it in my own country, in Ireland too, and in Britain to a certain extent. There's this, yes, the studios produce the big epic movies of superheroes and all the rest, which are fantastic, it's great. But there is a dearth, there is a need in audiences to see more independent-minded movies. And it's thrilling to hear and read about them, especially this festival, to go through the catalogue and see the number of Mexican films, young filmmakers that are doing this, you know, supplying this need.
Actually, now that you mentioned the Phantom Menace, do you know Ewan McGregor is going to be here later today? It's going to be the reunion.
Look at that sign.
I think there are so many questions from our members of the press to do right now, so I believe we should start with you guys. I'm sure you have many things to ask to Mr. Neeson and Mr. Pavlovich. Over there, can we...
Hi, could you talk a little bit more about the physical challenges? I heard that it was, quite a, not grueling, but quite an energetic production. So tell us a little bit about what else happened after the earthquake.
I have to tell you about the earthquake first, right? It's quite funny, even though it was terrifying. I was in my hotel room, it was the 15th floor, and the room, the world started to shake. And I thought, I'll just stand under the doorway. That's what you do. So I was under there for like 10 seconds, going like this, and I thought, this is crazy. I'm 15 floors up. You don't stand in the doorway. So I went into the little safe, took my passport, went out into the corridor, which was, the corridor was maybe 20 meters long, right? And it's going like this. I kid you not. And there's a little lady, the manageress of that floor, who's got her clipboard, she's knocking on doors to see, are the rooms cleaned? I'm standing there like this. And she turns to me and I quote what she said. She said, no problem, no problem. I've been here 20 years, no problem. So I wasn't feeling any better. I went to the elevator and of course that was stupid. I took all the stairs down to the foyer. And it was like an episode out of the Twilight Zone, because by the time I got down, the rumbling had kind of ceased, and everybody's going about their business. I'm the only one who's going like this. And it's a huge foyer of a business-type hotel. And I went to the front desk, and I remember asking the gentleman, I said, excuse me, the earthquake, yes? Was it predicted? And he didn't understand the word predicted. He got a colleague, and she came over and I repeated my question, was this predicted? And she said, no. But I had two heads or something. And she said, you must understand, she says, Taiwan is on a web of fault lines. Like this type of thing happens all the time. Okay, that's fine. 3 days later, I'm up in the same room, the 15th floor. Sorry guys, I'm digressing here. But it's a way of just getting rid of the fear. 3 days later, I'm in the room. I wasn't working that day. I was going over my lines or whatever. And this air raid siren started. You know, the old-fashioned air raid sirens? And I thought I was in a 1940s British war movie. It kept going and going. I called down to the reception. I said, could you tell me what the air raid sirens are for? He said, oh, we're just practicing to make sure they work. We do this twice a month. And I said, why? And the answer was, in case China invades. And your question was?
Anything else during the shooting?
Martin, wanted us all. Now, Andrew Garfield is built like that. He's a piece of wire, physically. He wanted us all to look a bit more gaunt, which the boys did. I know Adam Driver went to an extreme. He's an ex-Marine, so when he's told, given an order, he follows it through. He was like something out of Auschwitz by the time he finished. Andrew lost a lot of weight. I personally dropped 20 pounds for the thing, and so it was. Martin requires this commitment, and I think it pays off. I think it does.
Next question, please.
Mr. Neeson, welcome to Cabos. And you have worked with a lot of talented directors. Can you tell us what the difference between an European director or an American director in the way they work with actors?
No, there's, people ask me that sometimes. There's no real difference, I've made so many films, I think it is. I haven't found a big difference, to be honest. Movie crews are the same the world over. That's what I love about it, You can shoot in Mexico, as indeed I did many years ago, and you can shoot in Taiwan, or you can shoot in Greenland, or Ireland, or Scotland, and movie crews are the same. They've got the same temperament, the same personality. But no, I haven't noticed a big difference.
Por allá había una mano levantada primero.
Can you hear me? I was wondering, in the wake of yesterday's attacks on Paris, and since your film has to do with religion, and you also talked about your religious upbringing, what's your opinion regarding the positive and the negative extremes of religion, and how people react to what they feel about it?
It had to be you. I knew there was going to be one. And when I walked on the dais, I thought, that guy with the bald head, he's the one. I apologize, I'm not trying to make light of a horrendous situation. I think we're all in shock. All our prayers and thoughts are with the bereaved and their families. Yes, Scorsese's film deals with faith and the commitment of faith, and we have sections in our society that take it to an extreme, and it's horrifying. It's absolutely horrifying.
Can you tell us a bit more about the actor? Get his name, but you mentioned one of your Japanese co-stars.
Mr. Ogata.
Yeah, tell us about him and also what the book must have meant to him.
I didn't get to hang out with him at all. I have to be honest. His face was familiar to me, and then I saw him playing Emperor Hirohito in a film called The Sun, made by this extraordinary Russian director. I just met him on set when I was doing my couple of scenes with him. I could tell he was something special. You can just tell when an actor, a real actor, has got a presence that you notice and you respect. And I think in our scene, one of our scenes, he does not say anything. He's just standing there, looking at me, going through my stuff, and very, very powerful, commanding presence, Mr. Ogata has. And of course in Japan, he's a very, very famous actor.
Next question.
Hello. You talked about the changes that the film industry is facing through the new technologies. And the fact is that today a film can be seen in a screen of the cell phone. What does this mean for an actor of your intensity that is compromising so much in his work, in his interpretation? You must have lost about, 25 kilos for this character, or maybe more, I don't know. I think it's almost unfair, because it's not the same. The movie was born to be seen, cinema was born to be seen in the big screen, and suddenly we have this little thing. What does this mean for an actor?
The actor still goes through his process when you're creating a part and presenting it either on stage or on film, and you're being specific about film. I've tried to watch movies or TV episodes on these things, and it's quite impossible, I think. I think people still want to go into a darkened room, sit there with their popcorn, sit there with complete strangers, and see these images. I still think people love to do that. And I think, you look at audience attendances and cinema attendances. I'm thinking specifically of America. They're record numbers year after year. So people do want to get out of their homes. They do want to get away from this or that computer screen and have a shared experience with strangers at seeing a movie. I don't think that's going to die.
Okay.
So I still have a lot of hope and faith in the big screen. Gaston, this is for you, I know it is.
In fact, it's for both. Gastón, ¿qué significa para ti como mexicano trabajar con estos monstruos, con Scorsese, con el señor Liam Neeson? And for Mr. Neeson, you're an iconic actor, you're an action hero, you're a DC comic hero, you are a drama hero, but for you, which is the movie that you are still running for? What is the movie that you're still dreaming to do it?
You just asked me how it was like working with you, and I'm gonna say it was unbearable. But as I said at the beginning, it's just a highlight of my professional career, and I just hope to continue that, of course. But as it happens with you and all of us, whenever you're able to work with genius and people who are honestly working, hard-working people and are passionate about what they're doing, it's just a thrill and an honor to be working with people like that. But I was very fortunate to be able to work with two of my favorite cinema people in history, which is Liam and Martin Scorsese.
I have no great plans to be King Lear or Hamlet. If I read a script and I respond to it, and it obviously depends on who's directing it and stuff like that. That's what my motivation is. But I have no burning ambition to play a particular part, I did with Michael Collins, and that was 20 years ago, so I was very thrilled to get the chance to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Hi. Closer. Is there any more Mexican talent that you want to work? Anybody like another director, producer, or actor that you want to work with it? And for Gaston, is there any more Mexican talent behind or in front of the screen?
Yes, there was 2 Mexicans in the whole CineNT production, and we were louder than everybody else in the set. And it was Rodrigo Prieto, the director of photography, which I honestly believe he is the best director of photography in the world. There are many wonderful ones, and all Mexicans are particularly good at that. And when you see CineNT, I think you will agree that he is due his recognition. Once you see CineNT, he was brilliant. And Marty loves him a lot and respects him a lot, and we all do. I think he's one of the most talented Mexicans there are in the world right now.
Yeah, who are the top 3? Who are the top 3 guys? You must forgive me, guys. No, Del Toro, of course, yeah. with Crimson Tide, not Crimson Tide, but what was Peak? Crimson Peak, yeah. Wow, those images. It's just amazing. Well, he's very, very good.
Right here, Mark Reyes from Televisa. Mr. Neeson, I would like to know which is the best experience that the cinema, this passionate job, has given to you, your career. Gastón, bueno, la película Silence, cuando la vemos, por ejemplo, en México, cuáles son los proyectos. When gonna see the Silence premiere here in Mexico? If you're Mr. Neeson, are you very welcome to Mexico to present this movie?
We're waiting for Mr. Scorsese to finish his editing. We should have a director's cut very soon. We're already doing the strategy with Paramount, which is a domestic distributor. And soon after, we will be sitting with our Mexican distributor, which is Gucci, which are here present with us. And they will be distributing us here in Mexico. And soon after that, once we sit down with Paramount, we will be sitting down with Mexico. But the bottom line is that we have to go towards second half of next year. We should be getting this movie out to the world second semester 2016.
That's Cabos time.
My best experience. I have to be honest, they're all great. I'm a working class Irish guy, and to get the chance to be a professional actor, early years in the theatre, of course, but to be cast in John Bourne's Excalibur, which was my first big outing in 1980. I thought I had died and gone to heaven, and I must admit, every film and television experience since then, I've always felt the same. I've always felt like a kid in a candy store. It's the luckiest guy in the world.
Next one. Hi, Mr. Neeson. Welcome to Mexico as well. I promote tourism, so I'd like to ask you a question. You mentioned that you've been to Cabo before and that you've been to other places in Mexico. Where in Mexico have you visited, and what do you think about the Mexican people?
I shot a film on Veracruz. It's called Ruby Cairo, with Andy McDowell and Viggo Mortensen, many years ago. I don't think anybody saw the film. But we were in Veracruz for like 3 weeks or something. And there was one thing I did notice, because at the time I lived in Los Angeles, and my interaction with the Mexican people was seeing gardeners walking up Laurel Canyon to go into some anonymous house and fix their pool or cut their hedges and do something like that. Kind of anonymous people that I'm ashamed to say were just part of the fabric of LA life, you know. But when I was in Veracruz, I just was so touched by their root is family. Those families seem to be all important to them. And that was a real reminder to me. And very similar, actually, to Irish people in that respect, I thought, you know. That the family was the real core group, and you did everything for the family. So I was very touched by that when I was working there at Crew.
Thank you, Mr. Neeson.
Brilliant. With diplomacy, how difficult or how easy was to work with a Mexican producer and with a director like Martin Scorsese?
How easy was it? Well, you know, Gaston he's a gentleman. And I think I said earlier, he loves film, he's passionate about it, especially independent film. And, you know, to read the script of Silence, or indeed to read Mr. Endo's book, you would think, how could you possibly make this into a film? And what sort of audience are you going to get? And in steps Gaston, and it's an incredible act of bravery. Not just an investment of But it's an act of bravery and it's based on a belief that yes, this is something that's going to speak to the world with this extraordinary director and this excellent cast, and I want to be part of it. So that says a lot about Gaston. I never get the feeling from him, oh, he's dying to get on stage and hold an Academy Award. I met a few of those producers, you can tell that's what they're aiming for. But Gaston is from a much, much richer and deeper place in his commitment to cinema.
And with Martinez,
I'm sorry, sir?
And with Martinez, how difficult was working with this director?
Working with the DP? With Martin. Well, he's intimidating. I've worked with him twice now. The first one was Gangs of New York, and that was just a couple of weeks, 3 weeks or something in Rome. You know, he's legendary. So you have to, as a performer, you have to get over that. I had to get over that. The icon, you're working with this extraordinary man, and see where he's at. And as I said earlier, he does require absolute silence on set. Like everybody has to stop work when he's giving a direction or he's explaining a scene. I mean everybody. The guy that's painting 400 yards away has to stop. If he hears one tiny sound, it shatters for him. So he commands that respect, he commands that silence. And especially for this film, it was necessary, you know? That's all I can say.
Here, Mr. Wilson. It's nice to see you again here in Mexico. I think, I'm sorry to ask this, but I think everyone wants to know your opinion about the new Star Wars movies. Are you excited to see them in the movies, back again into movies? What can you say about it?
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I thought you were going to ask, am I in it? Everybody seems to think I'm going to be in it. It's like, no. And yeah, I think it's an event, and it's a wonderful tradition. And the thing I love about those Star Wars films, they're all based on the one mythic tale that every culture in the world shares, which is basically an innocent, a young man or a young woman is picked for some reason, goes through a trial, an ordeal, succeeds that, going through that ordeal, and comes back and enriches his or her society because of what they've done. That's the universal story. George Lucas has very, very cleverly seen that and worked his scripts around that universal story. And that's why they're still so appealing and why everybody's waiting on bated breath, not just kids, to see this next installment. It's terrific.